Welcome back, WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. I don't even have my Baltimore Positive logo out. I've got to get it up onto the screen. But I have sponsors, and they're my friends, and they're being patient as I unleash the new Baltimore Positive. Bill Cole from Cole Roofing joining us now, and Gordy and Energy from, dude, you got a way better green screen thing behind you on Zoom than I do. I still have like real objects and leg lamps and, Cole Roofing cups and hats and shirts and stuff that I can, and empty ice cream boxes I can wave around here from Taharka. But you're driving technology, Bill Cole. And it's very obvious when one Zooms with you.
If I could figure out a way to sit still long enough and have the audio quality that meets your standard, then, I wouldn't need to use the green screen. I would be totally okay with having my props surrounding me. So in the meantime, I'll do it from my truck, from parking lots, and use the green screen.
What is that roof? Is that a roof of a school? That's solar behind you,
It's a
correct?
church.
It's a church.
Yeah, it's a church. We covered it with solar panels. Yeah. It's very good.
Tell me what, before I even get to sports or whatever, because I'm looking at these every time I see like solar trees and solar panels, I think of you. When's the first time you saw solar? I know for me, it was in The Man with the Golden Gun. It was the Solex agitator. Like I went into the Pendry the other day, and the big mirror there with Juan, the GM. There's like a James Bond thing you can look at there. But when I see solar, I think of The Man with the Golden Gun. And I think of Christopher Lee in 1973. I don't know when it really became like a thing that like the first school in America was heated by solar or whatever, probably sometime in the 80s or something like that, right? But you tell me, you're an old line 100-year roofing family. It seems obvious in the same way that an old line AM radio guy would want to like broadcast on video because I had to sit in the basement doing radio forever because you had to just put tar and shingles and crap on people's roofs all these years. Now you can use that space. I see these buildings, the new buildings like in East Baltimore. I see these incredible green spaces and just stuff you can do on roofs that my dad didn't think about in Dundalk in 1953 when he bought his house,
Yeah, so it definitely has become a realization that we have this unused space, and that probably is what started us on the path to solar. Was we started doing the vegetated roofs, but it all kind of happened around the same time. So 03, 04, I'm seeing solar panels showing up at roofing trade shows.
So hold on, this century, literally.
Oh yeah, I mean for me, yeah, for like.
When did you first get on a roof for your grandfather? How old? I mean, when were you climbing around looking at the world from roofs? Probably in the early 90s, maybe?
Yeah. I mean, when I was 14 or 15 probably, and then
But when's the first time you saw something from a roof where you looked across Baltimore and said, "Oh, that's one of those sun things," or what? Right? I mean, there's always that first.
Not until we were putting it down. No, like the first vegetated roof we did was the Natty Bow Tower in.
And that feels brand new to me. That feels like that was built 5 minutes ago.
And at the time, I mean, it was like, I don't know, 15,000, 20,000 square feet of green roof, and you'd be hard pressed. I mean, I had a hard time getting people to help me price it, and it was cutting edge at the time. It was stormwater regulations were kind of coming into vogue, and Struver Brothers were doing their thing, revamping, parts of Baltimore City. And, this was just a way to control that stormwater that was running in and carrying all the trash into the harbor.
But anybody that knows anything about like calling you would have some like, if I were to call you, and I have more water in my basement than I do on my roof at my radio station in a general sense, but I have all this land, all this space, I have a roof. Like in 2020, as a 50-year-old guy that's owned property for 20 years and had no quite what to do with it other than let the deer run through it, you know what I mean, and have it flood me out. I haven't even had a friggin' picnic on my land. I own 6-7 acres of land, and I just don't look at it to use it. It's beautiful. It's more beautiful than my downtown land is for sure. But it has a tower on it. And I would, if I'm selling it to someone else or pitching it to someone else or whatever, I would always talk about the possibility of doing that, right? Like, and whether that would be viable or not, because I don't think anybody hasn't not thought of it now, because a guy like you would come out and say, well, we could do this for you, right? And that's something that 15 years ago, no guy like you would have existed to do that for me.
Yeah, it's still, we're still trying to figure it all out because there were more innovative things happening in the solar space in 2004 that drew me in than we're doing now. So,
It's like the metric system. It's sort of regressed in some way.
I think it's more, but the price of solar panels was so expensive at the time that it allowed people to invent other ways of using solar wafers, where they were putting them into roof membranes and they were trying different stuff. The price of those panels has dropped so significantly that you probably remember the name Cylindra, right? That was like a big hot button thing. Obama gave them $500 million, and then a year later they went out of business. That they were like actually a very innovative company, maybe not very well run, but you have a couple problems in solar surface area. We can only convert as much sunlight as we have area. The cells heat up as time goes, as it converts energy, which degrades how much electricity it produces. So Cylindra was like these little tubes all stacked together, creating sunlight coming down and reflecting up off the roof. So you increased your surface area, and air could flow through the tubes, cooling them. And then they put them in these frames that were really quick and easy to throw together, so we could build them really cheap.
Science is cool, huh?
It was phenomenal how many different things were going on. And then today, none of those products are in the market.
Well, you have a president who is committed to dirty
It's
coal.
even before the president. I'm not going to let you blame him. You can blame him for enough stuff. I don't know if this one's his fault,
But there's no progress being made in that way, right?
well,
Because the old world fights the new world, which is business in America over the last 100 years, right? That's why we're still putting gas in cars, right?
I think the progress was made in the manufacturing of glass solar panels, that the price has come down so significantly that everybody's talking about putting it on their house. I'm building them in farms, and we're putting them on commercial buildings. So progress was made. It was just made in better manufacturing facilities as opposed to, cutting edge technology.
Let's make those in America. You and I open up a place and be the American solar people. He is Bill Cole. Sometimes we talk football. Sometimes we talk politics. Sometimes we talk about Baltimore City. Sometimes we talk about solar panels. Let's talk about football a little bit. I mean, the weekend, the game, sports, you and I came together through the Ravens and the Orioles, and the Orioles are now not in the pennant race. The Ravens are the cat's meow, right? Like a win on Sunday in Houston would set them to be undefeated. There'd be Monday Night Football. There'd be Patrick Mahomes coming in. It'd be the biggest regular season game we've had here in forever. And still nobody's going to be able to go, right, except Luke. But from a diversion standpoint, in an election season where we're all running around with masks in the middle of a plague, I guess it's better to be a Ravens fan than to be a Browns fan right now.
Ain't that the truth? I think it's funny that on Thursday, all the hypes about Kansas City, almost like they forgot, Lamar was the man, and that, oh yeah, Mahomes won it all. And then very quickly by Sunday, everyone remembered, oh yeah, that's right, Lamar's the man. And if we ever get our stuff together, then this really shapes up to be pretty awesome between Kansas City and Baltimore. I mean, I'm not sure that anybody else is really in the running at this point in everyone's mind. We know weird stuff happens. I mean, wait till they start getting the COVID, and we'll see who gets to play, 3 weeks.
Well, even the Steelers won on Monday night and looked, okay, right? So there's that.
Hey,
even the Redskins won, right?
The Washington team. No, the Washington
football team, the WFT.
Right.
WTF.
Right, exactly.
I wonder how long I'm going to continue to call them the Washington Redskins in the way that I'm calling the San Diego Chargers the San Diego Chargers.
Oh, it's really messed up.
Well, we still had referees in the last decade, holding Baltimore, and they meant Indianapolis, right? So, so we've had that happen.
It's I mean, I think the world is less informed because we've kind of been focused on the pandemic and the civil unrest. That there's a really nice stadium that got built somehow.
Two.
Right, Vegas
and LA.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. And then I
saw those fountains out in front in Inglewood for no one.
Yeah, right. It's crazy. And then Kansas City has fans.
Cleveland and Cincinnati are going to have fans this week.
Yeah. It's really wild. I mean, it's really wild. you
Bill
know.
Cole's here. He is a Cole Roofing and Gordian Energy and joins us each and every week to support us, sponsor us, to give me a mug that sometimes I can dump Royal Farms coffee all over my equipment from time to time. Hopefully only once a lifetime that will happen, and I'm already good. I paid my debt last summer with Luke. But for you, with where kids going back to school, September, I mean, we're definitely feeling it right now that the temperature changed, right? Like going out to dinner tonight, I'm going over to Franco's in Catonsville, get a pizza. I'm going to have to wear a sweater, right? Just
Yeah,
because
it was
that's where
chilly.
we are.
Yeah.
So lots of stuff is changing here. We got an election season. I got my ballot somewhere on my table here. It got mailed to me the other day, and, all the forms, and Moeller and I are going to be talking about all of that. Kids going back to school or not going back to school, depending on which household you're in, what municipality you're in, wherever you are. That's probably the most unsettling thing for Americans right now. As much as jobs and money and PPP and can I pay my mortgage next month and all of that. But if you have kids or kids in the neighborhood or you're in a teaching family or an education family, the weirdness of the Zoomy Zoom and the Wi-Fi and are the kids going back to school and the difference between having a 16-year-old kid and a 6-year-old kid.
Yeah, I think that it really needs to be the thing that everyone gets concerned about, because it, it's such a struggle for the kids to learn at home, and everybody kind of experienced that in the spring, and now we're coming back, and there's still kids that don't have laptops, there's still kids without Wi-Fi, and for all the good that we do as a society to try and pick up those that need to be picked up and help each other, it's just an epic disaster, in my opinion, that there are 100% children who are completely being left behind. And it doesn't really seem that we're doing the proper risk analysis on those kids. Like, I understand we have a public health concern, and we have to keep everybody safe. But can you only imagine, like what is the long tail of damage that gets done to children who no one's like helping them get in front of a device that doesn't exist in a household with with a parent that's quite frankly just not that interested. um so I
Or not
really
capable, not capable.
sure
My,
that's
my
true
my
too.
my father, my pop would have been very capable. My mom would not have been capable of teaching me at any point in her life. And my paternal and maternal parents, oh my God. I mean they couldn't raise me, like they couldn't get me to 4 years of age, let alone to get me in front of a computer in 1973 to sit and learn. And I was a learner, so
Right.
still am. Still sitting in front of a screen learning, by the way, Bill. Every day, all day, lots of screens. It makes my back hurt, makes my head hurt. But I think about my own experience in that way, and I sort of take my education for granted, right? Like my dad had flashcards in 1972. He cared a lot. My parents had just lost a child, so they were way into me, as a replacement child, literally is what I was. So I only have my experience, and then my experience of raising my son, which I cannot imagine Nasty Nestor in 1994 with a 10-year-old kid trying to build a company with no Ravens in town and a baseball team on strike, trying to educate my kid in September 1994 at home on some device, because he was, I don't know if you know this, Bill, he was kind of rambunctious when he was
Right.
younger. So I can only put myself in that position. I can't put myself in the position of a parent with 4 kids that
Right.
are 6, 8, 11, and 14. Yeah, I mean, or dad lost a job, or how are we going to pay our mortgage? I mean, thankfully for me, my wife is gainfully employed. I still have sponsors like you that are at least keeping half the lights on around here. But I can't imagine that challenge and running into my old friend Bill at the store, who has that going on right now in their life with 4 kids, 5 kids, whatever
it
it would be, right?
the chaos is so wide ranging, and then the mixed messages that are getting sent right when football comes back on Sunday, and dad and everybody's happy for a day, right? And then on Monday, like, that some kids are getting bussed into schools for help, but that the adults that are in the building aren't allowed to teach them, because that would be unfair to the kids who are at home. So we're sending kids into school, but we're not allowed to teach. Like, it, I understand how we get to that spot, but
Lawyers.
yeah, but the mixed messages, right? I mean, just the challenge. And to your point, I mean, families with multiple kids, kids trading off devices when they need to be on. Some kids, I think that most of the teachers, if we just took the social media away from them, they'd probably be really good, because everyone loves to like jump on the bandwagon. So everyone starts complaining because they want them to go back to school, and now they're complaining because they need to teach virtually. And it's like you should just probably
Well, there's a
get
lot
off
of
the
opinions
machine.
in the world, right?
Yeah, no
That's
doubt.
where we are. Yeah.
No doubt. You don't want to go to work, but here's pictures of you at the party over the weekend with like 50 people. Like, come on, like the hypocrites are amazing. But the burden that we are putting on our teachers, who, we're not classically trained to educate in this environment. They've got kids up and down the list, right? Some kids are totally engaged, have the devices, have parents that
No, well, Luke
that
was
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 not
a
a
school
speed
teacher.
bump.
That's all right. Yeah, Luke was a school teacher too, so we talk about it a lot, just like what this would have looked like. And Luke and I have always talked about the wide range of kids he taught and their abilities, and we talk about that with football players. The wide range of what someone can do and someone else can't do, and
Not
how
even
a
just
teacher has that times 125 if they teach 5 classes a day, right?
when it's not even just the individual abilities that you're trying to assess and deal with, it's that the tools aren't even the same, right? So all the kids don't even have the same book, all the kids don't have a pencil, all the if half the kids are coming on Zoom once a day to see me as a teacher, and then half the kids I'm sending packets home that they're just work because they don't have a device, like, I mean, that's insane,
You're not
like,
being taught at that point. Yes.
right,
Yeah. They're
right,
throwing darts at that point. Right.
yeah.
Bill Cole is here. He is Cole Roofing and Gordian Energy. I have the coffee. Tell me what you do for 101 years. I got used to saying 100, but it's 101 now, right?
Yeah, so I think what we're doing is that there's a whole bunch of 18 to 20-year-olds who are reassessing whether they should be going to college. And if not, maybe they think about entering the trades, because, that's an honest day's living. And right now, maybe that's more value than spending money at college. So yeah, no, commercial roofing for 101 years in Baltimore, taking care of everybody in town's commercial roofs, hospitals, schools, shopping centers, the like. 11 years ago, we started a solar company doing this right here, putting solar panels on rooftops. It's led to building carports and parking garages and solar farms and fields. We just love to talk about solar, and if anybody ever has any questions, we just love to answer them. So.
All I do is talk about the man with the golden gun and talk about football. I'm getting on a plane, Bill. I'm going down to Houston this weekend, so I'll be masked up. I'll be washing my hands, and I'll be Purelling. And I told John McClain from the Houston Chronicle Company, he said, why are you coming down here? What, you see the game better at home. And I'm like,
Yeah, well,
well, I need to have the experience of doing this. So I'm going to go to Houston. I don't know if I'm going to make it to Philadelphia or Washington or the Kansas City game or how many seats we're going to have. But this week, this is what I'm going to do one time, is go down and report on the 1-0 Ravens. So I will be with you next Wednesday, Bill. So rest up, wash your hands, and wear your mask, and keep putting roofs on for people, all right?
all right, brother. I appreciate it.
We'll
Thanks.
fix the world again next week. Here's Bill Cole and Gordian Energy. You can find them at Cole Roofing. You can find the roof behind his shoulder. You can find me, Nasty, at WNST.net, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, and solving all the world's problems. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore, merging 23 years of Baltimore sports at WNST with a brand new Baltimore Positive.